Have you ever stayed in a hotel room so quiet that you could hear your own heartbeat? Now, imagine this. You check into a room on the 3rd floor. Everything feels normal, almost too normal. But sometime during the night, you start to feel like you're not alone. And before the 3rd day ends, you vanish without a trace. No screams, no signs of struggle. Just an empty room and a bed that looks like it was never slept in. Tonight, we're stepping inside room 313, a place where every guest disappears on day 3, and no one knows why. Welcome back. If you love horror and real-world mysteries, this is the perfect place, because the story of room 313 isn't just disturbing, it's haunting. And once you hear what happens in this room, you'll never look at hotel doors the same way again. You're about to experience the disappearances, the final moments, and the secret the hotel tried to bury. Let's begin. The first recorded disappearance happened nearly 20 years ago at a lonely roadside hotel, caught between 2 dead highways. Room 313 was painfully ordinary. Faded wallpaper, a humming mini fridge, a single window facing a flickering street lamp. Nothing about it suggested danger. The first guest was a traveling salesman named Reddick. Security cameras captured him entering the room at 9:47 p.m., soaked from the rain and carrying a bent umbrella. For 2 days, everything was normal. He bought vending machine coffee, chatted with the staff, and complained about the weather. But on the 3rd day, housekeeping knocked. No answer. His car was still parked outside. His suitcase still full. His bed untouched. Harold was gone. No forced entry. No signs of escape. Just a vanished man and a hotel room that felt wrong. Sometimes the scariest disappearances are the ones that leave no trace because they force you to wonder where someone could possibly go. 3 months later, a young couple checked into room 313, Lena and Marcus. Engaged, playful, completely unaware. In the lobby, they looked happy. But in the hallway camera footage, Lena slows down. She stares at the door, tilts her head, as if hearing something whisper through the wood. Marcus laughs it off. They enter. The door closes. For 2 days, all seems well. They post photos, pancakes, nature trails, swimming under cloudy skies. Then early on the 3rd morning at 4:12 a.m., the lobby phone rings. The night clerk answers. It's Lena, her voice shaking. She whispers, "Someone's in our room." Security rushes to check. They knock. No answer. Inside, empty. Their things packed. Their phones still charging on the nightstand. And Lena's call? Phone records show it came from her cell phone, still plugged in on the table. How does someone call for help without their phone? The disappearances kept coming. But one case stood out because technically she survived. Her name was Evelyn Marsh. She checked into room 313 during a business trip. On day 1, she complained about the temperature. On day 2, she complained the TV kept switching to static on its own. On day 3, she checked out early. But that night, police found her wandering barefoot down the highway, covered in dust, repeating only one phrase: "It followed me out." She would never explain what it meant. Whenever someone asked, she'd look toward the corner of the room as if watching something move in the empty air. An officer wrote that she seemed afraid to turn her back on nothing. Before she vanished again, days later, she left one statement: "It waits. It learns you." On the first night, it watches. On the second night, it whispers. On the 3rd night, it enters. Maybe she was delusional, or maybe the room wasn't just taking people, maybe it was choosing them. Eventually, the hotel wanted answers. They placed hidden cameras in room 313, not to spy, but to survive. A volunteer agreed to stay, a freelance journalist named Tanner Holt. Ambitious, curious, a little too fearless for his own good. When he arrived, he joked, "Hope I don't end up on milk cartons." But the cameras tell a very different story. On the first night, around 2 a.m., Tanner wakes up suddenly. He sits up and stares at the door. No sound recorded, but his face says everything. He whispers, "Who's there?" No answer. Night 2 is worse. At 3:17 a.m., he writes in his notebook, "A voice behind me." Not words, but just breathing. In the bathroom, the shower curtain sways on its own. No vents, no drafts, nothing. Tanner doesn't sleep again. Then comes day 3. At 6:41 p.m., Tanner sets up his camera, points it at himself, and says, "If something happens to me, don't come looking." At 6:42 p.m., the lights flicker. The screen glitches. 3 seconds of pure black. When the video comes back, Tanner is gone. The room is silent, empty. But there's a new shadow on the wall. A tall human shape standing over the bed, even though no one is there to cast it. After Tanner's disappearance, the hotel sealed room 313 permanently. But that didn't stop the rumors. And finally, years later, a former housekeeper revealed the truth. Long before the hotel existed, the land held a small, isolated farmhouse. The family who lived there vanished mysteriously, all except one, a boy found wandering in shock, repeating, "It's in the walls." The farmhouse was torn down, the hotel was built over its foundation, and room 313 sits directly where the farmhouse basement once was. The housekeeper ended her message with a chilling warning. The disappearances didn't start with Harold. They started long before, but back then, no one kept records, which raises a terrifying question. If something lives beneath room 313, something old, something patient, is sealing the door enough? Or is it still waiting for the next person who wanders too close? Some places don't become haunted. They're born that way. Room 313 is one of them. If you enjoyed this story and want more tales that keep you awake long after the video ends, like the video, subscribe, and stay with the channel. Tell me in the comments, would you spend a single night in room 313? Or would you run the moment the whispering started? Thanks for listening, and until next time, sleep lightly. You never know what might be watching.